All right, this lesson is by request. This is Don McLean's American Pie. We're gonna start out with the chorus of this thing. This is that bye bye American Pie kind of thing. So we got. So it's nice and slow when we start. We got G to C and G to D. So just kind of like a down, down, up, down, down. We're gonna do this 3 times. Let's count that in and do it 3 times. 2, 3, 4. G to C and G to D. Second time. Third time. Now after that third time, we're going to hit an E minor and hold it to A7. Just bring the 2 in here on the second string. Back to E minor, and then we're going to have D7, and we're going to start the faster strum. So D7, 0, 2, 1, 2. So let's take a look at that whole beginning again. 2, 3, and. Here comes E minor. A7, E minor, and then our D7, and we're going to get into this strum. Okay, so it's like da 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 dee dum. We're going to use the little open down here and a little 3 in there with the 2s. Da 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 dee dum dee dum dum dum. Something like that, putting a little melody on top. Sometimes you use a nail, you get those notes to pop out on the higher end a little bit. Okay, then we're going to be into a verse. We're going to go G. So basically like a jang, Jenga, Jenga, Jenga is our main strum here. So we go to A minor, C, back to A minor, E minor, D, and then D, dum, dum, kind of a 3, 2, 0, 2 on that second measure of D there. So let's look at the verse again from G. We're gonna have G, A minor, C, back to A minor. Then we're gonna have E minor, D, and then a little riff with D. Okay, so I'll call them out as we go. Here we go. We got G and then A minor. 2, 3, and A minor, C, A minor, E minor, D, and then riff, and then we're going to go G to D, to E minor, and then A minor 7 is going to be like an A minor 2, 2, 1, but with a 3 here on the bottom, and then C, and then E minor, A7, D major, and the D goes twice there. Okay, so this second kind of line of the verse here is G to D, so they share a bar, 2 beats each. E minor, full bar, A minor 7, C, E minor, A7, D twice. Now we're going to hold the E minor, hold the D, hold the E minor, hold the D, and then we're going to come back in strumming C to G, 2 beats each. A minor, C, D7. Now we get to the next line of this verse. We got G to D quick again. E minor. We got A minor, C, G, D quick again. E minor, C. And then this D7 right here is the day the music died. We're going to have a G to C and G to D setting up the chorus. So G to C and G to D. Okay, so let's go through that whole verse starting on the G. 2, 3, and A minor, C, A minor, E minor, D, and then a little riff on D. You can just kind of do the D twice if you want to do that riff. Now we got G to D quick, 3, 4. E minor, A minor 7, C, E minor, A7, and D twice. Now we got hold on the E minor, going to D, E minor and D again. Now we got quick C to G, A minor, C, D7, quick G to D, E minor again. Now we got A minor, C, G to D again, E minor, C, D7, the music died. Then we got our G to C and G to D. Okay, now we're ready for our main chorus here. G to C and G to D 3 times. So it's just like the beginning, except we're faster now and strumming and everything. So 2, 3, and... Now we're gonna hold the E minor. This will be the day that I die, A7, back to E minor. And then we're gonna strum the D7, and the second bar of D7 will have that little riff in it. Okay, and so what this does is it goes back to another long verse, another chorus, another long verse and chorus, another long verse and chorus. And then we have another piano part. We didn't do anything for the very intro, so we kind of come in when he starts singing and is doing the chorus. There is a piano intro. So there's also a piano breakdown at this point of the song after you have done like 3 verse choruses, or 4 verse choruses actually. So a lot of words in this one. So we're gonna do the chorus, we're gonna do it slow again. So it's like, E minor, A7. And then we got D7. So it stays slow. We're gonna get back into another chorus, staying slow. And at the very end, you're gonna go, this'll be the day that I die. So it's C to D, and then 1 strum on the G, 1 strum on the C, and you're back to the G, and you're done there. So we got, this'll be the day that I die. So let's take a look at the verse again. This is when we get into all these different chords. So we're gonna have G to A minor, and these are full bars each. So 3, 4. C, A minor, E minor, D, D again with the little riff, G to D, E minor, A minor 7 to C, E minor, A7, D twice, hold the E minor, go to D, do that again. We got C to G, A minor. We got C, D7. Now we got G to D, E minor, A minor, C, G to D again, E minor, C, D7. Then we got G to C, G to D. Then we got our chorus. Hold E minor, go to A7, E minor again, D7. Okay, and then at the end of the song, remember we got our chorus. We're doing it slow here at the end. Then we're gonna have C to D. This will be the day that I G, C, G. All right, American Pie, Don McLean, The Day the Music Died. That was by request. Thanks for the requests, guys. Keep them coming, and we shall talk to you soon.